So I did 30 days of basically grinding to Radiant. I originally started it because I was on like a really bad losing streak, and I feel like I lost kind of my touch with the game. I feel like I just didn't know what to do in certain situations, didn't know how to react. I feel like I knew I could be much better, and I had this idea in my mind about, and I've had moments in the past where I've performed better. So I wanted to spend 30 days sticking to a routine just to see how much I could improve. This was just like kind of a testing phase. I reset all my aim lab scores, and then I did 2 playlists, and I tried to focus on improvement as much as possible. Not focusing on how much time was left, the scores I got, the placements, what my rank will be, yada yada. I practice mostly flicking, tracking, micro adjustments, and I wanted to have a special little emphasis on movement and gun control. So I did 3 exercises. I did the Eliminate 50 with straight behind middle pillar. This is my favorite. I'm not sure if I came up with this or I saw this in some YouTube video, but I love doing this. You just go to this middle pillar and you practice your counter strafes, and you try to move your crosshairs like a little as possible to get the kill, or you try to peak the angle as tight as possible. And then I just spray control in the practice spots of no strafe, then the drills outside to try to spray between the 4 targets. So the practice spots, you're kind of just practicing like spray transfers, kind of like medium long range distance is what I like to do. And then for the drones outside, I just kind of spray in between them. My favorite thing to do, I'm not sure if this is the best thing, I just like to do it, is spraying and hitting all 3 shots consecutively and trying to get those first 3 shots always hitting. And then also after that I like to get those 3 shots, or like get close to those 3 shots, and then transfer over to another one, so do some more spray transfers there. And then the final thing I like to do, this is something I learned from Shanks. I saw Shanks mention this and I was like, I'll just try it out, and it's actually been really helpful. You'll see it throughout this, but I think this has been like the most beneficial thing, or the thing that's helped me understand like what I need to be focusing on the most when it comes to aiming. So it's the defuse the spike scenario. I'm getting too excited. It's the defuse the spike scenario. You practice your crosshair placement and slicing the pie. This thing really punishes you if you put it on hard mode. If you over peak, if you miss your shots because you have bad crosshair placement, you'll get instantly killed by these bots, and you have to be really strong, really tight with how you take these fights. And I think that's been really helpful for me. A deathmatch at the end pretty much just to wrap it all together, and then I play 1 comp game and VOD review it after. The deathmatch for the first day went phenomenal. My aim felt cleaner, I got in my head a little and lost some confidence. My aim felt so much better, and I felt way more aware of my surroundings. I ended up winning 40 kills to 26 kills, so that was really nice. I do want to say part of this could be because of my healthy start of the day. I've had a rough last month, just in life in general, and I wanted to make some like healthy life changes. So instead of waking up in the afternoon, I went to bed at a reasonable time, woke up at 5 a.m., instantly went for a run, took a shower, had breakfast. I try to limit distractions like YouTube, Discord, what have you, and completed a lot of like minute tasks I had in the backlog. So I think just kind of having like a having mental clarity before I hopped in the game, not having to worry about like I gotta do some school and I haven't eaten breakfast yet, I haven't showered yet. But the game I actually played went pretty bad. Where do you guys want to go?
Your mama's out.
I played Reyna because I had the opportunity to. For the most part, let me pull my tracker. Yeah, the last act I was mainly Sova, Astra, Cypher, and then I did Raze a lot, and then I did Killjoy and Viper. And that's mainly to say that I don't really mess around with duelists that much. I've never really contested the duelist role. I've always been like, okay, everyone else is just going to fight for this 90% of the time, so I just don't want to mess with this that much. And that'll be a whole nother video I'll work on in the future. It's just like why sometimes only maining duelists can not be beneficial for you. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of good team plays, and I lost a lot of easy rounds. There was a 10-minute queue before I even got into a game and got fractures. I also made some dumb aggro plays and crouch bait in a lot of fights, and used the Vandal and treated it a lot like the Phantom, so I was spraying a lot when I shouldn't have been. I wasn't aware of where this Reyna was. I think she was last alive. And this is a big thing for me, is like when I'm not sure about something, to trust my instincts first. Yeah, there should be some things included, but like when your teammates are telling you to do a certain thing, most of the time it's best to trust what you believe is the right decision, because that's one, how you'll like grow from it. Like you'll make the mistake, so you'll know how to prevent that mistake in the future. And 2, most of the times like your teammates aren't as geniuses as they think they are, or they're just trying to like control the situation. People are really used to having bad teammates and making really dumb bad plays, so they try to say like you have ult or you have turret when you don't necessarily have to like use those things to win the round, and their play isn't always the right play. I think if you want to grow as a player, the best way to learn is to try out plays, but try out plays based on like your instinct in the moment, not someone else's instinct, if that makes sense.
What you're looking at there, Omen. Smoke cats, smoke kitty, kitty kitty.
Smoking the cat, bro.
Are you deaf? Are you fucking deaf?
I don't play smokes, and
It doesn't matter.
You're complaining.
I said it.
You're complaining because you peeked before a smoke popped. Imagine peeking before a smoke pop and then
Well, I
raging.
said it. Did I
He said
did I-
something-
Oh my God.
Say one way, cat. He just said smoke it. What the fuck does I don't play
Yo,
smokes
it's smoke.
I like to practice a DM with Sheriff and a DM with Phantom, focusing on tops and sprays. I notice in some difficulty in long range fights. Maybe there's something I can find in the range. Yeah, so this is something I'd really recommend. Is when you're doing DMs, not to always do it with the Phantom, not to always do it with the Vandal. Have one game where you go Sheriff or Guardian only. The reason is because you saw I mentioned it here. Sometimes you're too quick to shoot people. Like you shoot people before they're even looking at you, before they're even fighting back. And if you rush a shot too fast, sometimes your crosshair's like not even on them. And then now you're just going for the spray. So using the Sheriff or Guardian kind of punishes you for taking fights too quickly, because you have to wait for that recoil before you can get another accurate shot off. It's also really helpful for crosshair placement. So if you have really good crosshair placement, you can easily pop off in DMs of Sheriff. Yeah, briefly there are a lot of benefits to just using the Guardian or Sheriff for deathmatch. I'll do another future video on that. At day 2, I just copied the same warm-up. My aim felt a little smoother, focusing on tracking and getting the connection between the crosshair and the target. This is something I've only felt recently in the past 2 months, where you just like know when your shot is gonna hit, when you know your crosshair's on their head, and if you click, they're dead. I like to say it's like a crosshair to head connection. This really comes apparent when you're doing like hard bots, and you're trying to flick really fast to the side, and the flicks kind of feel natural. Like some of them you can kind of feel naturally will hit the target. When you flick to the side and you can just like feel your crosshairs in the head, you can click and then flick back. So yeah, my VOD review for this was also just awareness. I feel like I know a lot of things, but I'm not like asking myself questions during the round, like what ult points do they have? What ults do they have? What ults do we have? Do we have a play in this round? Like am I greeting guns or kills? What did they do last round? What information are we giving away? What was their plan last round? What are they doing? Why? A lot of like awareness things, adapting to the game. Okay, day 3, I just removed some of the entry tasks because I felt they didn't feel like too realistic to practice. I didn't feel like they were giving me a bunch of benefit. This was a big thing I felt for my playlist, is I didn't want to spend too much time in aim labs, and I wanted to get the most bang for my buck in my tasks. And by the end of these 30 days, my goal was to also have a practice that I enjoyed. Deathmatch, I was doing pretty bad, then I focused on moving my mouse in a continuous motion, trying to take each fight to win. This continuous motion thing is actually really interesting. I didn't think about it that much. What it kind of means is like your mouse is just kind of like flowing back and forth, and it's just like gliding around the corner and then gliding around the next and then adjusting up. It's kind of like, it's just like the natural flow of like crosshair placement. That's pretty much what that's saying. And then trying to take each fight to win. So I'm not just like wide swinging a guy and I'm just like, alright, spray down and hope I get the kill. I'm kind of like teasing my shoulder a little, seeing if I can like bait some shots. Kind of like trying to catch people off guard. I was basically just trying to get advantages in the fight through movement and such. I also had a kind of trouble sticking to the routine, like getting on to do this every day, which I think is another really important thing. If you want to warm up every day, if you want to practice every day, and you want to make it as good as possible, you want to make it as enjoyable as possible. I think going on aim labs is not the most enjoyable thing, doing like the little warm-up and then a deathmatch. To me, it takes way too long. I like to keep my warm-ups like less than 30 minutes. So yeah, day 10, I think this is a day where I can definitely find some clips. or practice from that diffuser spike when I focused on peeking tightly and a lot of my crosshair placement. I feel like it carried over and I had some good aiming moments. And I also beat this FaZe Baby J guy in deathmatch. No idea who he is, but that's always good. Even though it literally means nothing, it still feels good to beat some guy with FaZe in his name who's a Radiant player in the past. Yeah, the comp this day was also very bad. The first game, dude was 0 comms. He locked Raze when we had 2 duelists, and then he DC'd at round 6 after getting opt. So that was hella unfortunate. Got off after these games because my mental was down too. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I decided to play another one like an hour or two later and I lost 11-13. This was a big thing. Dude, this was awful. I think the second half of that month, of the 30 days, I lost so many games, but like 1 round, 2 round, 3 rounds, lost an OT. You can see all the games that were just like right there. They were so close. Day 20, the only thing for day 20 is played Reyna. Holy shit, this agent is so easy to get kills with, but fuels your ego hard. Amen. This was probably the first time I played Duelist since the very first day. And yeah, Reyna is an insanely easy agent. Same with Jett, I found out. But yeah, at the end of these 30 days, what I've kind of learned is a lot of my improving just comes from having a consistent routine that I enjoy doing. My average spent aim training was about 20 minutes. My average doing the warm-up, which is just the range, was 10 minutes. Average in deathmatch was 10 minutes. My average in game was 80 minutes, so it was basically like 2 games per day. My average VOD reviewing was really bad. I VOD reviewed 3. It was definitely more than that, but I probably VOD reviewed like 5 or 6 days out of the 30. And each time I did it was like 30 to 50 minutes. So I finished off Immortal 3, 200 RR. I started off probably like low Immortal. I've always been really close to losing Diamond, or getting to Diamond. But I've never. My goal at the end of this is to hit Radiant. I've always wanted to hit Radiant. I was, I think, 60 people off in Act 1. So I want to do this again. I want to do the 30 days again. I think my crosshair placement needs a lot of improvement. And then also my awareness of what's going on. Yeah, that's been 30 days. I hope you learned something from this. I hope this gave you some inspiration to maybe try some of these things out on your own. If you watched to the end, I appreciate it so much, and have an amazing rest of your week.